Hello my friends and welcome. Let's go to the front lines review. We have the significant update near to Klishchiivka. Actually, the Ukrainian army bypassed this village and advanced towards those lakes. This village is partially under the Russian control on the northeast area. However, the Russian forces are quite restricted over there, and we already know that Ukraine was able to imprison some of the Russians in this region where the forest is, and some of the Russians tried to hide over there, but unsuccessfully. So let's check out the advancement of Ukrainian army in this direction. It was yesterday and it is today. Recently, Ukraine blown up the bridge across this river, or the channel you may call it. It was the only supply line in that area. Without it, Russia cannot hold in this place for a very long time. So I think that the next week Ukraine will take all of Klishchiivka under control and move even further. The same goes for Andriivka village. As you can see, this is mostly surrounded by Ukrainian army, and Russia is trapped over there because here is the tiny little river, so Russia is unable to send more reinforcements to Andriivka. It's also a matter of time then Ukrainian army will get it under control. It's kind of the small village, but very important because there is also the railroad, which is also the natural obstacle, and we need to get this territory under control with the river, with those lakes, to proceed forward towards Odradivka and on the northeast to Opitne village. And here the Bakhmut is very close, just nearby. On the northern part, the success is very limited because the important elevation over here is still to be taken by Ukrainian army. This is the most important part if we speak about the encircling attempt of the Bakhmut city. By moving on the south, we're not gonna solve the problem. We also need to advance on the north part. Now the south front lines, we're gonna speak about this part a little later. Let's zoom in firstly to this place, to the border of the water reservoir. The Ukrainian army has the assault vector directly towards this road. Yes, partially it's also under Ukrainian control, and it's very important to get as more of this road as possible because winter is coming and the field roads will be unusable. Let's check out the timeline in this area. So it was yesterday and today quite a firm advancement even before Ukrainian army started to advance towards this direction like the last week. Okay, now the main hotspot on the south, Robotyne village and Verbove. Today Ukraine advanced towards the Russian positions, making it like that. I trust the Deep State military map resource. They analyze the data from the social media resources, and they also have their own cluster resources, which they also use but with a little delay. Let's go to check out the Russian defense lines in that area. As you can see, actually, Ukraine broke through the first defense line. Now it's turn for this one and this one as well. If we check out the distance, we may say that Ukraine has around 6 kilometers to advance across the Russian defense lines. It is already 2 times bigger compared to the last week. The American intelligence is quite optimistic about the Ukrainian counterattack. Yes, they admit that it's very hard, it's slow, but Ukrainian army takes the ground on the south, which is very important. They say that Ukraine has around 50% of the chance to liberate all of the territory to reach the Azov Sea or Crimea border this year. So the main battle yet to come. If we check the other military map resource, here Ukraine gained all of that territory, which is quite a lot compared to yesterday, but here Ukraine has no advancement on the south. So as you can see, different resources have different information. I guess that in a couple of days everything will be more or less stabilized. More good news are coming from the east part of the front lines near to Bilohorivka, where Ukraine started to get more of the territories. Around a couple of days ago I already showed you the progress of Ukrainian army. Russians took this territory around 1 month ago, but now Ukraine performs the counteroffensive operation, and today it goes like that. Yes, the light gain of the territory, but still it is the advancement of our forces, which is awesome. The only more or less negative news we have from Novaya Horivka, where Russia has the advancement. So it was yesterday and it is today. In my last video, we reviewed the Russian convoy which was ambushed near to Kovalivka. Well, it seems like Russia had more resources over there, so they sent reinforcements and finally gained the ground over here. You can see the arrow of their attack. Ukraine liberated Novoyeghorivka, but Russia wants to get it back under control for the third time. But generally, Ukraine has more gains compared to the Russian side, which is, I would say, awesome. Based on the Russian resources, there is also the counterattack of Ukrainian army towards Novodonetsk and Novomayorsk, which is not far away from Vuhledar. Yet I don't have the confirmation that Ukrainian army was able to cross quite a wide river over here and land on the enemy shore. Simply, the videos or photos do not exist. The Russian very unique and expensive radar was kaboomed by Ukrainian drone or missile. I'm not sure about it, but the cost of the system is more than $200 million. It may create interference and also it may identify the airplanes, drones, probably, and guide the air defense systems. But here the drone is flying over this thing and it was targeted by the other one. The full video about this case is available on my Telegram channel. Sorry my friends, according to the rules I'm unable to show you everything on this platform, so for that please join my Telegram group. Stoltenberg said that Russia was really the second army in the world before this war had started by Russia. Now it is still the second one, he says, but just in Ukraine. Nevertheless, I wouldn't underestimate our enemy. They still have many of the resources and many of the neutral countries or their allies who give them weaponry and technologies to produce the rockets and other stuff. The sanctions applied on Russia work, but not as it was expected. The third countries continue to retransfer all of the necessary products for the Russian military. Yes, those are harder to get, but it's not impossible. By the way, speaking about the NATO alliance, Romania wants to evacuate the village near to the border with Ukraine. The village was targeted by the Russian drone. Well, not the constructions or the houses, but the kaboom happened very close to it in the bushes. Stoltenberg said that it was not the intentional act of aggression by the Russian Federation. It happened by accident. They thought to target the port across the river, but choose the wrong coordinates, probably. So Romania thinks to evacuate this village from the place, and our guys are laughing because those are the new borders of the NATO. Well, honestly, for now, I do not expect that NATO would escalate and join this war. No, it shouldn't be done like that, but at least they need to show their strength and to put air defense systems over here. Why not? Also, all of the diplomatic solutions should be used in the United Nations. There should be the new session. Why are you attacking the other countries? Are you declaring the war? Russia should respond for that. All of their ambassadors should be called in all of the NATO countries and question why is it happening. But there is no escalation, let's say. This is not the escalation, this is the proper response. Not with the military, yes, because of the attack of the bushes, but there should be done something. Evacuation of the village shows the weakness of the NATO alliance. It's my personal opinion, my friends. You may disagree, and I'm not stating that I'm right. This is the Russian Mi-8 helicopter that was delivered to Ukraine by the Russian pilot, the gift, let's say. We have the photo of President Zelensky together with Budanov. The helicopter is nice, it costs more than 500,000 that the Russian pilot gets for this transfer, and it will bring lots of the profit for Ukrainian army. The last night, again, Russia attacked the Ukrainian ports. If that continues, Ukraine is going to run out of port infrastructure. That will make the grain delivery almost impossible. Those are the remains of the drones, by the way. According to the Guardian report, the most part of the Western equipment that was supplied to the Ukrainian army remains intact. Those are the good news. Still, according to calculations, Ukraine has enough forces to continue the counteroffensive operation and break through the main Russian defense lines. Recently, Ukrainian army showed the great success in Robotyne. Actually, I was surprised myself. I thought that they will go in Urozhaina with the main attack. Robotyne was very difficult, but still Ukraine made it through the first defense line, which I think is really the miracle. At the same time, we have similar losses, let's say, with Russia. Let's go for the Oryx report. This is kind of the big one, from 28th of August till 5th of September. 8 days. Totally, Russia lost 150 vehicles, Ukraine 129, so if we speak about the general numbers, here is more or less equal. But if we speak about the artillery systems, which is very important because we have the counter-artillery radars, which Russia mainly doesn't have, so here 20 to 8. Russia lost 20 of the artillery systems, Ukraine just 8, and most of them because of the Russian long-range drones. As for the tanks, Russia lost 25 and Ukraine 16, including the first loss of the Challenger 2 tank. By the way, we have the details from the British officials about the Challenger 2 tank. The crew survived, all of the 4 crew members, which is awesome. From what I heard, the tank hit the mine and stopped. After it, Russia used the anti-tank missile. The crew was able to leave the tank before finally it was destroyed. About the armored vehicles like BMPs, BTRs, Bradleys and stuff like that, Ukraine lost 41, Russia 40. Why is it so? Because basically we are on assault and we use lots of the armored vehicles on the front lines. The high maneuverability always prevails and it is necessary to use the light armored vehicles compared to the tanks. Then you go on assaults, and that is why we have many of the losses by 1 vehicle more than the Russian side. Aviation. Russia lost 7 of the airplanes because of the drone attack on Pskov airfield, 5 of the Il-76, now it's been confirmed, and 2 K-52 helicopters on the south because Ukraine used the man-pods against those. And the Ukrainian side lost 2 of the Mi-8 helicopters. Unfortunately, it was the aviation accident, no one hit Ukrainian helicopters, and the investigation about it is ongoing. Russia lost 5 of the radars, including the new one Predel-E that I showed you in this video. Ukraine lost 1 of the radar. If we speak about the total losses since the beginning of this war, Russia lost 12,004 vehicles, Ukraine lost 4,375. A huge difference. Russia loses 3 times more vehicles compared to Ukraine. Now to the bad news. Let's say Russia started to use the small groups of the soldiers to attack Ukrainian forces in Sumy and Chernihiv Oblast. It's the north part of Ukraine and the northeast as well. Basically, we have lots of the patrols in that area and our military. So what Russians do, they mask in the bushes or in the forest and ambush Ukrainian vehicles. 1, maximum 2. I saw the video of their job, let's say, because they film everything on camera. It is very terrible, my friends, because they are not taking prisoners. And their media resources are just laughing about this stuff. Ukraine needs to reinforce the border with Russia on the northeast. Probably that is the main aim for the Russian attacks in those regions. They want to deflect our forces from the south, from the east as well. It's no go, we need to protect the border. The new military help was approved from the United States of America. Yesterday it was the first one, and this is the second one, together for $1 billion. We'll have more HIMARS rockets, which is awesome, plus lots of the artillery shells. Probably you saw this image before. Ukraine started to use the drone boats last year, and the first generation was equipped with Starlink antenna. Then I saw this photo, I wondered how this drone boat went into the shore. Was it intercepted by the Russian electronic warfare or not? Well, indeed, it was intercepted, but by this guy. Elon Musk secretly switched off the Starlink antenna near to Crimean Peninsula by the exact time those boats went on the mission. So the control was lost and many of those boats drowned or went to the shore. We have this information from the CNN resource. Yes, I know that many of you do not like that mainstream media resource, but they say that there was the evidence that Elon Musk purposely shut down the Starlink. Well, based on the Elon Musk's previous actions about the Starlink antennas, about the signal manipulation, I am not very surprised. The Russian general Konstantin Ognienko, who is responsible for the Moscow air defense, was arrested for the bribe today. The bribe amount was around $300,000. It is kind of interesting what he was bribed for. The air defense general bribes? Strange. Maybe someone just doesn't like the way how this general protects the Moscow from the drone attacks. But what is the best way for Russia to protect its territory? Helicopter and lots of the saint water. They put a couple of the priests, I hope you can see them. Probably right now. They even have the special hole for spraying, the new modification of the Russian Mi-8 helicopter, and the special device which they took from the local gardener to spray it around. So now the Russian land is totally secured. My proposal is to upgrade those magic priests because they perform much better job compared to the Russian air defense, especially the air defense general who was arrested. You see here corruption? No taxes for the church and no corruption. The United States of America will also send 190 MRAPs to Ukrainian army. That's a lot, but based on the information we had from the Oryx resource, Ukraine loses quite a lot of those armored vehicles, so we need more and more all the time, and crew usually survives. Those MRAPs have the different defense against the mines, which is awesome. The Iranian cargo airplane Ilyushin-76 landed today in Crimea. Later on, it took off and flown back to Tehran. We have no details about the possible goods that this airplane could have delivered, but usually those deliver the Shahed drones to the Russian Federation. For this day, the Wagner army continued to have the influence in Africa, for example in Mali. This Mali airport is under their control, and what is interesting that according to the images that went to the press, there are some of the Bayraktars on that airfield. Those UAVs were purchased from Turkey before, and now they may go to the Russian side. But Russia already has the technologies to produce those kind of the drones. They produce Orion drones, but those are not as effective as Bayraktars. By the time then Russia puts the car tires on their airplanes for some sort of the protection, the NATO countries use those mobile hangars, which may also protect the airplanes in a better way than the car tires. Those may also hide the airplanes from satellites, so the enemy side wouldn't be aware of the real number of the airplanes and which hangar is full or empty. There are different types of the hangars based on the airplane size and the effectiveness of the protection of the airplane. But the best one obviously is the concrete hangar or the hangar under the ground. This is the super high-tech technology for Russia. That is why they put their airplanes open air. Azerbaijan continued to move lots of the reinforcements to so-called Nagorno-Karabakh, which is partially controlled by Armenia. However, the territory internationally recognized as the part of Azerbaijan. Armenia got the fighting with Azerbaijan a long time ago. After the Soviet Union collapsed, by that time Armenia took that ground, and now Azerbaijan wants to take it back. There was one more escalation around a couple of years ago. Then Azerbaijan took lots of the ground, but not fully all of the Karabakh. Russia was the mediator in that war and deployed their so-called peacekeepers. But you know what? Armenia and Russia are in the same military alliance. Azerbaijan, by the way, has also a very powerful ally in this region, Turkey. So now they moved their forces, and we are out of the information. What is it going to be? Military exercise, drills, or the real conflict continuation? At the same time, Armenia also started to send their reinforcements to the east side of the country. We'll see how it goes. What worries me that Azerbaijan vehicles do have the special marking that are mainly used during the real conflict. Smoky night in Moscow. Where's the saint water? Why they do not drop it from the helicopters? You see, Russia, you have the smoke. Your general doesn't work. What is happening? Actually, the building of the Russian customs, the main building, got fire. Why? No one knows. My friends, don't forget to press the like to this video, and also if you want to support my job, there will be some of the links available in the video description just below. Many thanks for your awesome support. My friends, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.